Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be making a very simple project. I'm not going to use a lot of materials today. I'm going to be using just this piece of scrap wood that I have still from the last project and this piece of board that I got earlier. As you can see, it's not the greatest piece of board, but it'll work for now for the project that I'm doing. The project that I'll be showing you guys is just a simple cookbook slash iPad stand. So for anyone who use a cookbook for your cooking, or just want to use your iPad for the same reason. So I'm going to show you this, and I'm not going to use a lot of materials. This is the only materials I'm going to be using, so it's not really going to be a really big project. So first I'm going to cut down these edges to at least have a relatively square edge. Then cut down to the length that I needed. Then glue it together. So let's get to it then. Alright, after cutting out the edges to a square, now I'm going to be cutting at least 10 inches of the material, so that way I don't actually use the entire board, and I'm going to be gluing up these two pieces together. So I'm going to cut it down to 10 inches and glue them together. So let's do this. Alright, now after gluing the two parts together, I have about, let's see, about close to 8.5 board. So my goal is to have it at least down to 7-inch on the width. So I'm going to do that on my table saw. But first I'm going to clean out some of the glue smears, as you can see here, in the back here, as you can see here. I'm going to scrape it off. Then I'm going to go to my table saw, like I said, and cut it down to 7-inch. So that way I can have a relatively nice board to work with. Then I'm going to be working with the bottom part where it can hold the cookbook or iPad. So that way, so I can show you how it comes together. So let's do it. After cutting down the board into the exact dimensions that I wanted, I'm going to be doing a housing joint. So instead of gluing the bottom part together as a butt joint, I'm going to be doing a housing joint, and it's going to be around the same thickness as this one, since I am using the same materials. So that way it can look a little bit more professional and a bit more fancier with joinery instead of having a butt joinery. So that's what I'm doing right now. Let's do that. Alright, after marking out the where the wood is going to be, I'm actually thinking whether I'm going to use my table saw or hollow it out with a chisel. So I don't know really, so I'm kind of deciding which one I should choose. Alright, now after fitting this board to the board, I'm going to be cutting it down to the size that I need. Then I'm going to be starting the bottom part of the project. So I'm going to do that right now. Alright, after cutting down the long small piece of board, I have everything I need to finish up to the project. No, close to finish actually. There's another few things I need to do, but now I'm going to be working on the bottom part where the actual cookbook / iPad will be able to stand on. So this is going to be the bottom piece, and this will be going to be mostly like this, as you can see here. Not going to do any fancy joinery here. I'm just going to do a butt joint once I have everything down to the size that I need. Alright, I already cut it down to the size that I need. Now it's time for me to do some glue up. So I'm going to glue these two as a butt joint. Then I'm also going to be gluing this two into the joint, so that way it can become much more sturdy and strong. I mean, as it is, it's still strong. It's when I hit it deeper, it actually is a bit difficult to actually pull out, but I think it's best to put a little bit more glue, so that way I can have an extra strength and I don't worry about how this thing, popping off whenever I'm using it, or whenever one of my sister-in-law might be using it. So since she loves cooking, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do right now. Then after doing that, I'm going to be figuring out on how to position this, like around this angle here. Maybe I might go 45-degree angle. It's just a normal basic standard angle, but I don't know, I might go a little lower, so who knows. But I'm going to be making some of the legs here, so That way it can actually stand. And I'm also going to be giving it some hinges, so that way when once my sister-in-law or someone else in my family is done using it, they're gonna just put the legs here, basically fold the legs in here. Then I'm gonna be putting a one of those hook hinges or picture frame hooks here in the back, so that way they can just put it on the wall whenever they're done using it. After gluing up the parts together, I have this small piece of wood that I'm going to be using for the legs. So I'm going to be also using this piece as basically as a stand-in, so I can find the angle that probably suits best for the project. And on the end, I'm going to be using a angle finder. As you can see here, it's a digital angle finder you can pretty much get at the local hardware store, like Walmart. So I'm going to use this. Then I'm going to be cutting this to, then after finding the angle, I'm going to be cutting it with my miter saw, almost the exact angle, and then I'm going to be getting some hinges, so that way it can actually close and open whenever they're done using it. So alright, I'm already here. My miter station already marked out the middle where I'm gonna be cutting. So as you can see here, is a crosshair right here. That's where I'm gonna be cutting, and the miter saw is around to 30 degrees. Now at first I wanted it to be like 57 degrees, but I realized my miter saw doesn't go all the way up there to 50. It only goes up to 45. So I decided to go down to 30 degrees here. So now the problem I have right now is whenever I do line up my crosshair to the actual blade here, I realize I don't really have much work in here, and my fingers are like way too close to the blade. So I'm thinking of putting a small block of piece of wood here, or probably a small block of piece of wood here, so that way I can actually get more clearance and don't really have any kind of blowback, so it will hurt me. So I want to do that right now before I start doing any cuts. So, but if you guys have any way to do this cut, let me know down below in the comment section, so that way I don't have to lose all my fingers here. So I'll do that right now. Now after this thing already dried, I'm now going to be connecting the legs to the back of the project here. So take out these clamps here, and show you in a bit how I'm gonna connect them together. There we go. Now, I'm gonna be now this is gonna how it's gonna look like. As you can see right here, this is how it's gonna stand. Now, how I wanted it to fold, I'm gonna put some hinges that I got a few days ago. Then the hinge is gonna be folding like this here, as you can see here. See, just like that. So that's what I'm gonna be doing for the back legs here. And after doing that, I'm going to do a bit of sanding, as I said earlier. So I'm gonna sand the top part with 100 and 200 grit. Then I'm gonna break the edges as well because it's already these edges are shot. Just gonna break the edges with some sandpaper. So it's not really a lot of work to do here. There's basically I'm already done. So I'm just gonna attach the legs, sand it, and give it a good finish. So and I'll show you guys how it looks at the end. So let's do this. Now, as you can see here, the project is actually in its final stages now. I'm going to be sanding the front and back part and also the legs with my palm sander. Then, yeah, probably finish with this project. So, I'm going to do that right now. There we go. Now it's finished.
Thank you for watching my video. Please leave a like, subscribe for new videos, and leave a comment down below on any tricks I can actually improve upon on my woodworking skills. Follow me on my social media for new videos and pictures for upcoming projects down in the description. See you guys in the next video. Ciao.